Hey everybody, welcome to today's live stream. And it sounds like the audio is working perfectly fine today, so we're going to kick it off. Going for it, guys. We're going for it. How are you guys doing on this wonderful day? You know, it's a bit rainy here. It's been rainy here for the last couple of days, so it's a little chilly. It's finally hitting that kind of late fall going into winter time here in California. I don't know. But it's happening. It's happening. I can feel it happening. My hair is a mess right now, but we're gonna live our life like it's not, we're gonna pretend like it's not. Today is gonna be an exciting one. It's been a minute since we've done, I guess not really, we did a couple full CG stuff back a bit. Hasselhoff, welcome into the chat. How are you doing today? Today we're gonna be doing a VFX kind of thing, and we're gonna base it on Stranger Things, because I think Stranger Things is coming out in like a week or so, which is crazy cool. And I was trying to find some I don't know. We're in that in-between area where you can't do Christmas live streams yet, but you also don't really want to do, I don't know, you want to do something that's kind of like in that horror / folly realm. So I don't know. Stranger Things is coming out, and I thought it'd be fun to do a full CG Demogorgon shot. And we're gonna start off with a base model that I got off of Blend Swap. But it's really low quality. So I think what we're going to do is just use that as the base form and then build up from there. But I added a little poll for you guys. What is the most cursed VFX task? Is it rotoscoping hair, painting out boom mics, tracking a shot filmed on a potato, or matching grain? So it's you saw the survey, and at the moment you are clone stamping a baked character albedo. Currently you're fixing the butt cheeks. Ooh, okay. Well, spent a little bit of time working on the butt cheeks. One second, I'm gonna fix this. Chair is leaning back on me, and I don't want to be leaning back right now. Is there a way to, where's my, one second, as I figure out how to use my chair. I actually don't know. I think that's it. No. Lock it. Okay, that works. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Yeah, I don't know. I think rotoscoping hair is my least favorite thing ever on VFX. I kind of now have gotten to the point of my career. I feel like this is a badge of progress in your career when you no longer have to do the rotoscoping yourself. I just kick it off to other people and they do the rotoscoping for me. And I don't know how I convinced my producer that that's okay, but I think it's mostly because it all comes down to time, and I don't want to do it. So I kind of finagled my way into being like, oh yeah, it's more worth it for other people to be doing it and me spending my time on other things. And that's really where I'm at now. And I'm so happy, because rotoscoping is not fun. I don't like doing it. The times I have to do it, I feel like I just don't like it. I really just don't feel great about it. But yeah, so rotoscoping hair, I think, would be my most cursed VFX task. But I would love to hear what you guys think. We got 2 votes already on the rotoscoping hair poll. I'm going to keep that up there for a minute as we're going forward, working on some stuff today. As I said, we are doing a Demogorgon shot inside of Nuke and Blender today. He's back. Yes, I am. Has it been 2 weeks since I've been off? Or let's see. Did I do? Okay, so I was gone that week. So I missed 2 weeks. Yeah, sorry guys, it's been a while. But I saw I got Patreon subscribers, and I was like, okay, I got 3 Patreon subscribers this week. And I was like, okay, I'm back to live streaming. We're doing it again, guys. So, but with that being said, if you guys want, join the Patreon. Link to that is in the description. No, I'm just kidding. That's not the only reason I live stream. But I do want to give a special shout out to the wonderful people who did join our Patreon the last few weeks, or this last week. To these wonderful people right here. And of course, if you join the Patreon, you get access to all of our wonderful goodies. So every live stream I've ever done, you will get access to the project files for that. Where do I do this? There we go. This is basically the Patreon, and everything that, I have behind the scenes kind of breakdown stuff, and then also some really cool Like I uploaded my the actual script for my next short film I'm working on, as well as a little bit of a pre-production log. And then of course, all of the VFX assets for all the live streams, as well as some of the video game assets we've been working on. So the link to that, of course, is in the description if you guys would like to, join the Patreon. But without a further ado, let's close that and get into today's shot. So, as I said, today we're doing a Stranger Things shot, and it's going to be a fun one. I've always kind of wanted to do the Stranger Things Demogorgon ever since I saw the show 10 years ago now, I guess, because it came out in 2016, right? Like, holy cow. But, I've never done a Demogorgon. I did my own werewolf. If you haven't seen that, go watch that. It's on the YouTube. But so I did my own werewolf. So I've done stuff similar to it, but never a Demogorgon. It's been 84 years that it has. Welcome in, Beargon Productions. How you doing today? But anyways, I already created a plate. You can go access this plate over on where would you get this? This is on Action VFX. That's right. And they had this really cool warehouse shot, and I already created a plate for it. And if you want to know how to make proper VFX plates, again, I have a full tutorial on that specifically about making plates. But this is an Asus CG plate right here. The only other thing is we might want to view this in Rec 709 instead of sRGB. And it's just a cool warehouse thing. And I'm thinking we'll put the Demogorgon right over here somewhere. But today what we're going to do is, I think the plan, this is going to be a part 1, part 2 live stream, maybe part 3, depending on how it goes. This is a little bit more of a challenging animation, full CG VFX shot. But today we're going to do some camera tracking inside of Nuke. And then I'm going to take that, and then we'll also then go do, the 3D modeling, sculpting. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, I already have a base kind of figure of the Demogorgon, and we're going to add so much more detail to it. I'm just not like a sculptor, so I didn't want to do it from scratch, but hey, if you want to do it from scratch, go for it. I'm going to tag this as Asus CG because that's what I've rendered it out as. And yeah, I'm going to go save this as well right now. Just put this in our streams folder. Orlando Caicedo in the chat. How you doing today, buddy? And we'll call this version 1. I think that should be good. Go ahead and save that. All right, so first things first, we're going to need to do a bit of a camera track. Now, I think the only concern I have are these reflections right here are going to throw off the camera track. Anytime you have reflections, they're moving differently than how the environment is moving. And camera tracker solvers aren't really smart about that. Now, you can select them and delete them later, or right now we can go through and add some roto to subtract out those areas. So over inside of our Nuke, let's go ahead and just add a camera tracker. I like to do my 3D camera tracking inside of Nuke because I think it's a really clean software for tracking. And then you can export the track if you have Nuke X into Blender. But you can use whatever. How have I been? I've been great, man. Pretty busy with work. And honestly, I just had to take a little bit of time off the last couple weeks. It was just, I was pretty tired. I mean, even this weekend, yesterday, I did nothing. I just chilled. I basically watched all of Andor. I have 2 episodes left. Don't spoil it. Don't spoil the end of season 2. I've watched all of season 1 and almost all of season 2. It's 2 or 3 episodes. I think I just watched 9 last night. So I have 10, 11, and if there's a 12th episode. So you spoil it, I'm banning you from the chat. Anybody who spoils. All right. So here's the thing. We could track this. This is so here's my point, I guess, on like this kind of stuff. The reflections are moving, so like this gray area right here will be moving. However, these little speculars will not be moving. I think we could try 2 things. First of all, we could try it without any mask right now. So if I just disconnect, the mask here from the camera tracker, we'll see how this goes first and just, go from there. I'm going to add number of tracks in. I'll add like 300. I like 300. I just double it up, preview the features, just see where it goes. And as you can see, it is putting some trackers on this area over here. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. Sometimes we just need a rest and do absolutely nothing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Last weekend, I also had some family come in town. We went to Universal Studios Hollywood, and I got to go to Nintendo World. So that also kind of took place over the weekend. And so I couldn't stream then. And then I was taking a week off the previous week because of work. So then now I'm back. We're back, baby. We are back. And I think we'll be doing this for the next few weeks, this particular shot. Okay, so I'm going to say lens distortion. Let's say it's an unknown lens. We don't have any of the information, unfortunately, for this lens. So we can't undistort the footage ourselves. But we can do it this way. So we have 3 votes on rotoscoping hair. Connor was having the time of his life. Absolutely was. Absolutely. Really, guys, just taking a break from live streaming. You know, it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this yesterday. It's interesting because I do this for a living also. So when I live stream over the weekend and I do VFX over the weekend, it's basically like just a 6th day of work, essentially, is what it comes out to. Whoa, that's a good solve. Okay, well, you will notice that it didn't think these were good tracks, which is great. So we don't actually have to delete these manually ourselves. It already said they weren't good. Now this one is probably still pretty bad errancy. We'll see, but it got a pretty good overall track. Now I'm gonna, for right now, we'll just get rid of the roto that we have here. And if we go to our camera tracker over here, I'm gonna keep link output for right now, and we'll set this to Scene Plus and hit create. Now, the reason why I like Scene Plus is it just gives you everything. You could do Scene, and I think it just gives you this, right? Is that what it does? It just gives you the Scene node? Oh, no, it gives you that. But Scene Plus gives you pretty much everything, including a scanline render, which I really like. But it also undistorts your footage if there's any distortion on your shot. Looks like there was just a little bit. Again, we don't really know what the distortion of this shot is, so it's a little hard. We just kind of eyeball it and hope for the best, which isn't the best thing to say, but it is what it is. I mean, oftentimes I can't tell you how many times I've done VFX for a film and it's like, oh, do you have any lens distortion charts? No. Do you really need those? And it's like, yes. Okay, well, we're not going to be able to get you them. Well, then why did you ask if I needed it? Don't even ask then, you know? Why are we pretending like we care? Now, the thing I like to do to make sure that the track is pretty good is, now it's under 1 pixel solve error, which I think is pretty nice. You find camera tracking tedious, to be honest, especially depending on the footage. You have, like, if you have a camera that moves all over the place or looking up or something with nothing to track. Oh, 100% Beargun. So here's the dirty little secret for, I'll just go to camera view real quick. So, we'll turn that off right now. The thing that I've run into, and not everybody has this luxury, but I 100% agree with you. Tracking can be a real nightmare. And sometimes it might be worth it, depending on if you're charging the client by the hour or what, just to budget in your budget to outsource camera tracking. Because if you can get someone else to do the camera track for you and you just focus on the creative, depending on your situation, that sometimes is the best scenario. So I have found, at least with our studio, that I do all of the creative aspects of a shot, and then we'll outsource roto and tracking to outside vendors. And that allows us to speed up our production as a whole. And it costs less ultimately in the end of the day. But you're right. I mean, I always try to track things first, and then if it doesn't work out, then it's like, yeah, you know, you're gonna have to do some magic. But yeah, in this particular situation, it's such an easy shot. I can track it myself. I don't want to give myself hard shots for my live streams. What do you think? You think I'm out here trying to give myself extra hard things to do? That's actually one of my favorite things about online YouTube tutorials is every situation is always perfect for the person making the video. They're like, oh yeah, and now just hit this button. It will magically just work. Like I just hit through a tracker node on here and it gave me an error of 0.67. That's a really freaking good error value. Now, if we wanted to, we can even clean this up even more. So like I would just go and kind of get rid of a decent amount of these. Look at that, 0.27. That's insane. I kind of feel bad because like if you're using this as a tutorial on how to camera track, this is not a good tutorial for that. You know, I could pretend like it is. I'll be like, oh yeah, guys, this was such a difficult, and that's why I'm so skilled. But in reality, I just literally hit the track button. I feel like it's those when you do a full tracking tutorial, like how to actually track in Nuke or Blender or Synthesize or whatever software it is. I feel like you have to give yourself something that you have to problem solve, because ultimately in the end of the day, if you're just doing an easy shot, yeah, so all the tutorials are a lie. Basically, I mean, it's not that they're lying. They're just doing easier shots, and that's, I guess, fine, whatever, you know, as long as you know that. It annoys me whenever I'm like doing a VFX shot and I'm like, well, I ran into this very hyper specific error and this guy in this tutorial didn't have this problem at all. And it's like so annoying, you know? Okay, I'm going to set our full size format here to HD 1920 by 1080. Here we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to add a merge node now, and we're just going to set the B to the footage. Let's just, well, first of all, we should probably get rid of that dot. And we'll add a dot over here. Just love it when the tutorial never has any of the same problems that you have. It's so fun. When you follow a tutorial but have different results from the video is the worst thing ever. 100%. 100%. That's why I kind of like, not to pat myself on the back at all, but like I kind of like this format of a live stream, because while it sucks for me, you know, and I have certainly been in situations where I've run into problems and haven't been able to figure something out on a live stream, that is almost good to show, because I hate tutorials that just give you the result in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and they're not really showing you the troubleshooting steps in order to be able to get good results. They're essentially just showing you, oh, look how amazing I am, and if you just press this button, this button, this button, you do something. Well, that's not really a tutorial as much as it is like a showcase, you know, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I always find that somewhat frustrating, especially being on the other side of it when I'm like trying to find a tutorial to help me. Let's create another card here. And let's just go view this real quick, drop that into our scene. Now what I'm doing right now is kind of just lining up a few cards to give me some flat surfaces. Let's grab this guy, scale it down. And this card here will just move backwards. Go ahead, see how well that tracks. Smooth motion, have clear definition, and it's like they make it easier on themselves for tutorial sake. I mean, as I'm literally tracking a very smooth motion shot. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think one of the harder tracks I had to do was the one from a couple weeks ago where I was doing the UFO shot, because that wasn't supposed to be a 3D camera tracked VFX shot. In the Action VFX library, I was just like, oh, well, we should track this and put a UFO in it. But it's like, I guarantee you every freaking shot I get is like just handheld, like, you know, shot. And you're just like, whenever you do that for a job, it has to be perfect, you know? It's so that's more than likely the type of shots that you're going to actually have. Okay, great. So this actually looks pretty good. I I don't think this ground is actually fully lined up. I think there's some issues. So let's see. I'm going to select that. Just find some real high contrast points. Like that. See, this is floating off the ground. I don't think this was a good one to grab as a marker. So I'm going to go near the end of the shot here. See if we could find... Like, we know this is probably a good tracking marker. Let VFX people do the handheld motion in post, please. It'll make things so much easier. 100%. I can't tell you how many times I've said that to DPs. But, you know, here's the problem you'll run into. In film, there's quite a bit of politics at play with everything. So when you're talking to other people, at least I've had this experience where when you're talking with anyone else on set, they don't want you to replace what they're doing later. So in essence, if you say, oh, well, we could just add handheld camera motion in post, the DP will be like, no, I don't want you to do that. I want my camera motion to be in post. And that is, you know, not good for a number of reasons. But so you have to kind of like play the game a little bit. There's a certain amount of like, hey, I'll let you have this if you let me have this. Let's set these 3 to selected for the ground. Hey, Veeth, welcome to the chat. Just realized your and Baragon Productions like icons, like when they're really small, almost look the same. Even though they're incredibly different. It's just the color and the texture of it. Okay, I'm going to select these 3 guys here, and then we'll go ahead and create a card now. This is the ground. I'm going to delete the stuff I had before. I'm trying to select stuff that's more flat on the ground. Okay. Well, that's not correct. What did it do? Oh, I didn't select all 3. That was the problem. Okay. Now select all 3 and then add the card. Otherwise, it's just going to face the camera. That's not useful whatsoever. But yeah, I mean, there's a decent amount of politics that comes into every department. So, I mean, even you'd be like, oh, well, it makes sense that, you know, you don't want to have green inside of clothing when doing a shot in front of a green screen, right? Well, you can't tell the costume designer not to. At least my experience has been that you can't tell them not to. So in the end of the day, you kind of have to be nice to them to try to convince them that it's not exactly a great idea. Okay, something I did with these 3 was not a good ground. Okay, we made a boo-boo with the ground selection thing, so let's just back this up. I'd love to be a VFX artist that can say to a DP, not to tell you how to do your job, but this is how I would do it. Okay, I unironically, I've had people tell me, like DPs tell me to basically fuck off. So you can get that as well. I will. There's politics. Like, it would be great if you could just be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. This is how to do it. But that's just not reality. You can't do that. Okay, I like this ground piece here. I'm going to do this one and this one. Oh, these all look good. Yeah, we'll do these 3. Yeah, okay. I don't know why it was when I tried to... There we go. Okay. That looks a little bit better. I'm going to just scale this guy up. This should not be floating as much. Just play that back. It is annoying though, because when you're dealing with people on set, and this is the real frustrating part, is that everybody has like egos. Not everybody, but people in general do. I think everybody's proud of the work they do. So finding good ways to work with people is 90% of the job. You just have to be able to work with them. And everybody wants, to make a good film. Nobody wants to make a bad film. So ultimately, in the end of the day, the trick is just figuring out the best ways to communicate with people. I am still having a little bit of a float. You see that? Look at that. Getting some floating that's happening here. And it's almost like the ground isn't level. Yeah, look at that. I think these are going off up here. Why? The ground's got to be flat on this thing, right? Let's go over to their auto tracks again. And then we're just going to keep scrolling down on this. Hit reset. Delete, reject it. We're just going to keep pendulum down. Maybe we are going to have some camera tracking issues, guys. Go ahead and create a card, I guess, again. Just running till we get it. Very slight, like we probably actually get away with it, especially since we're not doing a full CG shot. It's just a Demogorgon that'll be right over here, but I would like to get the track as good as possible. Just make sure this part over here is really not floating, because this is where the shadow and stuff will be. Well, that looks a lot better. I don't know why the ground looks so skewed though. Is this floating? No. Okay, that's a lot better, guys. Wow, I don't know why. Ground looks horizontal, does it not? Something about it looks off. Looks like the ground is going inward, like we're too high up looking down on it. I don't know. I don't really care. As long as this section here works perfectly for us, then I am chilling. So go ahead and save that. We don't really care about this wall over here, but we will later. So let's go ahead, because we need like to create a mask of this section. We could either roto it. I might just roto it. We don't need to do a whole 3D thing for this. So, okay, great. So we have this card now. Let's go ahead, and we want our Demogorgon to be about right here on our shot. It's going to be like in this section right over here. So the way to do that, an easy way to do that anyways, is to just create like some kind of cube or something that's in the area that we want it. So I'm going to go ahead and create a cube right now, just a simple cube. Go ahead and plug this guy in and just plug into the scene over here. And then I'm going to scale him down. And here we go. Now, if we disable that and make this just full, let's just see how well this tracks in. We got ourselves a cube sitting in our scene now. Ideally, it's pretty clean. Hey, Dave, welcome into the chat. How are you doing today? Still 7 votes with rotoscoping hair. Maybe I should have made the options a little more something that people could fight over. What would you guys say is the most cursed like VFX tasks? Is it oh, you know what? I don't want to see tracking a film on a potato. See that tracking a shot that was filmed on a potato is pretty nightmarish. I don't know if you guys realize how nightmarish that is. That's pretty dang nightmarish. I feel like hair is one of those things where you might be able to get away with a little bit more on it. Okay, this is looking a little floaty, right? Is that just my imagination? Is that my imagination? Don't know. We might be fine. Okay, great. So let's just re-enable that and add a translated voice chat for us. You mean like a... Wait, what do you mean voice chat? Translate... Oh, are you talking about like a text-to-speech functionality? Oh, you don't speak English. Okay, well, I don't know how to do that. Add a translate voice chat? I wonder. OBS live stream live closed captions. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out for next time. I'm sorry. I don't have that option right now. At least I don't think I would have to enable a plugin for it. They do have captions experimental. Audio source? Wait a second. I have an idea. Mic, language, current system language is English. I don't know how it works exactly. As soon as you picked hair, you immediately second guessed yourself because the hair, it can be a nightmare, but most of the time you've gotten something decent out of keying out the background. Yeah, I think like hair is perceivably one of the options that sucks, but I think ultimately in the end of the day, I don't think people realize how sucky camera tracking can be, especially 3D camera tracking. Okay, I don't know how to do this whole I was gonna try to get that set up for you, Dave. I'll have to do it next time. It's not something that I know how to do right now. I wonder if you does YouTube have live functionality for closed captions? No captions available for this video. Okay. Well, that sucks. All right. Well, we're gonna use this right geo node now, and let's go ahead and add it. Over here, we'll do match move. Where's that at? I gotta sort by name. Then let's see, we'll go to match move, and let's just call this cam and v1.abc. There we go. And we're just gonna output the camera as well as the geometries. I'll keep that out. And Agawa. I like these settings right here. So if we just go ahead and execute that on our global settings, we'll go ahead and get ourselves a full nice thing. All right, I'm going to close Nuke. I'll close Nuke for right now and open up Blender. Blender. Okay. And let's see. We're going to right now inside of here. I'm just going to go ahead and select everything. Camera tracking with no visible floor. The footage. It's the worst thing ever. Oh, dude. Yeah. But that's why I said earlier, I will literally just give it to someone else. I'll be like, hey, can you just get me a nice clean camera track? And I'll pay them whatever they want to get paid. Just give me a good camera track, please. All right, so I got this nice camera track right here. We'll keep the scale set to 1. but there we go. So now if we go to camera view right now, we can see that we have this really nice move, and it's barely visible, but who cares? Let's open up background image though as well and hit add and then open. Let's see. Oh my goodness. That's not what I meant to do. There we go. Just do our plate. Change this from UDIMs to image sequence. I don't know why Blender always wants me to use UDIMs. I don't ever want to use UDIMs. I've never wanted to use UDIMs except for one time, and that was to make a tutorial for Action VFX, and then ever since then I've never used UDIMs. So I don't want them. Okay, very slight camera move here. Now it's cached. Playback pretty nicely. Pretty nicely. It's a good camera track. So I think the thing is now I think the trick will be we need to get lighting set up, and then we'll do some sculpting today. But basically the tracking is kind of complete. I'm going to put this under our scene folder inside of 3D work. And let's go and just call this today's VFX shot name. Make the Demogorgon leap at the camera. I was thinking about having it like bent over eating something and then like look up, a kind of thing. That's kind of what I was thinking. It's not a long shot. It's like one looks up. We can maybe have it leap. We could maybe have it leap. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to do window, new window, and I'm just going to add this over here, and then I'm going to re-add my other screen now. I like to have a second monitor set up with just the camera view of what we're looking at here. And under our viewport display settings, set the pass-through to be all the way. And that way I can work on stuff over here while this being our render. I'm also going to want to be using cycles for this. I'm going to set that to GPU. And there's a couple, I think that's pretty much it. We're going to render it out at 100%. But there is another thing, and I want to, what I'll do right now, let's just move me out of the way. Move me up here. Why not? I'm out of the way, guys. Top right corner now. But one of the things is in the settings down here, I actually found this new plugin made by Blender Bob, and it's actually a pretty good plugin that I think everybody should have enabled. So if you go to Edit Preferences, and if you go to under Get Extensions and search for Overscan, you'll see two overscan options here. I think it's not that one. It's the overscan render option right here. It's created by maintainer Blender Bob. Now, this is a really cool thing that I really needed actually last week, and I just found out how to do it in Blender. I've known how to do it in Nuke for a while now, but it's pretty sweet. Okay, so let's just look at our camera right here. You'll notice that if I rendered this out, there's a few things. Let's open up Nuke again and I'll kind of show you. Now, we won't really need it for this shot, but it's very useful when doing any type of CG to comp type of work, especially dealing with lens distortion. Now, if we go look at our lens distortion that we have here, you'll notice that we are pulling our pixels out past our frame here. And because of that, if I rendered out CG, I would then be re-pulling in our pixels. But because I wouldn't have these pixels here, it would create stretch line effects on the outside of your footage. So, and I don't really have an example of this on this computer. I was doing it all this last week, but if for instance you had a set extension that was going outwards, you would want it to go all the way to the edge of your frame here and then be distorted back in. But in CG, you wouldn't have rendered that. So overscan allows you to render out extra pixels on the outside of your frame. Because like right now, as you can see, will only be rendering to here. Whereas when I'm previewing this plate actually, and then this is actually a really good example of this, I should be undistorting your shot, and we'll just create a, not a right geo, a regular right node here. And we should render this out to our undistorted reference. So if we go under ref, oh, whoops, this is a different stream. But let's go to today's date. So now if I go to 08 ref, we're going to do undistorted plate. Just copy that real quick. We'll just do a JPEG. And it also can still be HD. It doesn't have to be super high quality. It's just got to be something that we know what the color space is. We'll just tag it as matte paint. That's utility matte paint on our plugin set here. So now if we just render that out, now what we're doing is we're basically rendering out an undistorted version of our VFX shot. Whoops, gotta hit create directory. That is kind of important. Not to be stereotypical action movie guy, but I have to say English, please. Am I not saying English? Oh, you're making a joke. I see what you're saying. Okay. So we'll break it down. When doing CG VFX shots, you have to undistort your camera lens because every camera lens has distortion on it. And so when you undistort your footage, you're flattening it out. And that's basically creating, and this one doesn't have a lot of it, but you can kind of see it happening here. You see how the edges are getting pulled out on the thing, and I'll just even make this bigger. This is the regular shot here, and then it's undistorting it. It's pulling your edges out. Now, why is it doing that? It's basically flattening your image. If we had an actual lens distortion chart, we would be able to see what that kind of curvature of your lens is. Now, in this particular lens, there wasn't a huge curvature. So it doesn't have a lot of distortion. And so when we do that, though, the CG is not going to render on the outside of pixels. That's what's called overscan. Pixels outside of your, like, basically your frame. Yeah, exactly. Hasselhoff just said that. So when you bring that back into your comp and you're going to then redistort your footage like so, the CG would also get added the distortion onto, but you need those pixels on the outside of your frame in order to be able to do that. So and Blender doesn't exactly have it built into their system here, but they do actually have now this plugin or extension that I just, enabled over here. And if you go to your output settings inside of your properties window, you will now see an overscan button. All you have to do in order for you to use this, and we'll just go to wireframe so it's easier to see over here. But if we add pixels, extra pixels on the outside of your frame, and then let's say we wanted to render an extra 1000 pixels, you'll notice that the safe area of your shot, again, it's a little hard to see, but this is still the amount of pixels that we were going to be rendering with before. And if I hit revert, you'll see the entire screen is getting quite a bit smaller. And then if I add 1000 pixels on the outside, it's rendering extra pixels. Now we're not going to need 1000 pixels. Let's say we might need like 200 pixels or something like that. There's such a small amount of distortion. But if you render with that 200 extra pixels on the outside here, then when you redistort it, you're not going to create any artifacts. You were getting lost in Connor's voice. Let's go. I got that, that voice that just makes you fall asleep, right? That's why I shouldn't be like a teacher, I think. Because if I'm a teacher, people just fall asleep in my classroom. So anyways, we'll just render it with 200 extra pixels, maybe even just 100 extra pixels on the outside. There's not a lot of distortion happening. I might do 200 to be safe. But the point is, now if we take this shot and let's go to render view just to see what it looks like. We'll brighten up the background here. We'll do a test frame, okay? So now when we're rendering this, you'll notice that the resolution changed inside of the output settings, and that's all perfectly normal. Also probably want this to be 2398. Go ahead and save that. Oh, well, actually, it'll be 24 because I never changed it inside of my Nuke settings. So it'll be 24 frames per second. But now if I go ahead and let's go to the very first frame here and let's set the output folder. We'll do 3D out, temp, and then we'll do version 1. Version 1 and render underscore will be the name of our shot. I'm going to set that to OpenEXR multi-layer, and we'll just uncheck overwrite. And we'll do that. That all looks great. We're not using simple bake. So now if I do render animation, we'll just render out this first shot here. Should be pretty quick. Well, you're texting English pretty well there, Dave. Okay. There we go. So now it rendered out a singular frame. And if we, whoops, I actually made a boo-boo. We'll do overwrite 1 second. And then I got to go to film and then set the transparency on. So now we do the same thing. We're just going to render out the same shot here. It's remaining. Come on. Okay, great. Now, inside, if we were to then bring in our render that we have, let's go ahead and go to 3D out, temp, and pull in this render. Tag it as Aces CG for ourselves. And I'll use a shuffle node, and we'll shuffle in the combined. Now, this resolution over here is 2120 by 1280. It's a really weird resolution that doesn't make any sense. And that's because we have our overscan pixels. So if we were then to, inside of our Nuke over here, use a reformat node, and we're going to keep the 1920 by 1080 resolution that we have here, but we'll do a resize type set to none. This will then pull out our pixels. As you can see, it's basically cropping in on our shot to that 1920 by 1080 window that we had. And if we then say, hey, preserve the bounding box, you'll see this bounding box that's going all the way around. And that's perfect. So now, if we were to use this lens distortion node, we can copy paste it down here. And instead of undistorting our shot, we will then want to re-distort our shot. And that will give us our pixels that we otherwise wouldn't have had, which is a little hard to see on just a gray, ground. But if those texture details went all the way out, we would have all of those texture details all the way through. We will want to make sure that this preserve is selected on our shot. And then when we take that, we would then be able to merge it back over top of everything else. So if we disable that, we should have just our cube from Blender directly inside of our scene. Let's go ahead and pull that down a little bit. There we go. Okay, great. So now we have just our cube sitting inside of our world. And you know, that should be the exact same thing here, honestly, as our cube from here, which it's not. So, oh, whoops, I've got to go to frame 1001. And as you can see, this is our nuke setup here. And then this is the Blender render setup here. So now if we disable that, we only have our Blender render inside of our shot. So let's go ahead and close nuke. You recently watched a Film Riot video and they were talking about VFX shots from way back in the 1920s. The majority of them were from disaster movies. Some of them surprisingly hold up today. You know, honestly, VFX has been good for a while. It's kind of like a meme that VFX aren't good. I don't understand. I feel like it's an uneducated opinion, basically, when people say that, you know, VFX have gotten worse. I think people are just, I don't know. I think people are hypercritical over stuff, but that's just my opinion. Don't kill me. Okay, so I'm gonna now match the lighting in our shot. We have this JPEG background that we created here. We may want to let's revert this for right now because we want everything to line up a little bit better. And then inside of our camera settings, we have this utility linear selected. We may want to, one second, we may want to select, okay, actually, let's open up Nuke again. I want to make sure that we're looking at things correctly. So let's create a undistorted version of the EXRs. As ACES CG, because right now I just want to make sure we're tagging everything perfectly correct. So I'm going to duplicate this right node, and then we will go in here, and I think we'll go to pre-render, and I'll call this undistorted. So again, we'll just create ourselves a folder, .exr though this time, and make sure we're saving this as ACES CG, essentially for our output transform. And this time, what that'll do is it'll give us the ACES CG version of our shot. So let's go ahead and just render this out real quick. And then we can import this into Blender and just tag it as ACES CG. So that way, everything should look identical in both of our softwares. So that way, when we're making our creative tweaks for lighting or color or any of that kind of stuff, we know what it looks like inside of both softwares rather than having to render it out and hope for the best. So we'll go over into our Blender now, and let's just close this background image here and open a new background image from our pre-render folder. And this time I'm going to say not to detect UDIMs. I kind of want to make sure that it never detects UDIMs. I don't know how to save this for future. You're working on a Stranger Things project for Uni assignment? Awesome. You should join the Discord and let me see what you're working on. I'd love to see it. Okay, great. So now I'm going to open this as an image sequence here, and then we'll create the frames. 1001, we'll set the frames to start at, and then ACES CG will tag as. Now, if you click view as render, it'll actually view the actual plate in the background here as the color space is correct. So if we get both these should be pretty identical. The only thing I think right now is this needs to be set to sRGB to see it how Blender is seeing it. That is correct. So sRGB is the thing here. I'll set this to Rec 709 because I know that's how I want it to output as. And then over inside of Blender, I think we could do our view transform is currently set to sRGB, but we can select Rec 709. We'll select ACES CG for the sequencer. The reason for it starting at 1001, I mean, it's pretty industry standard to start at 1001. And the reason why it doesn't start, okay, so I used to have it start at 1000, but that was because we don't use slates at the company I work for. The reason why it starts at a number like 1000 or 1000, well, specifically 1001, is it's the first frame at 1000. And that way, if you need handles to be added because you did a VFX shot, let's say you started a VFX shot, the edit was locked, but then they go, hey, we're going to give you, like, we need to slide the beginning of the shot by like 30 frames because we want more of an opening to the shot. Well, then rather than you having to move all your keyframes over on a frame-based shot, you can just render out those new shots and have it, new frames, and have it start at like 950 or something like that, rather than 1001. That's the reasoning I think I've been told. I don't know if that's the official reason as to why stuff was done, but that is the reason I've been told. Okay, we are going to need to now find some good lighting reference for our shot here, because obviously this is not correct. So let's go ahead and create, let's say this is ref, and then is that so that's what you've been told as well? And I don't know if that is true or not. That's just like the legend that I feel like I've heard over the years. Yeah, you don't want to move your key. Like, ideally, you want everything to be pretty locked in place, which is why, I mean, they lock edits, before you start VFX, but that doesn't mean anything. Just big real. Yeah, I'm gonna, let's see, that's studio. Let's just do mat cap for right now. By 50 frames, and you can't start your frame at -50. I mean, you can Hasselhoff. Actually, does Blender go before 0? No, it doesn't. So you're right. I was like, maybe you can go into negative frame space. I do know you can go into negative frame space over in Nuke, I think. Let's see, -50. Yeah, you can go in negative frame space, and but it's like, why would she, like, it doesn't make any sense. Trust me, you tried in Blender. You're like, please, please. I do now like to have my frames match in Blender to Nuke. I have for a while had them be different. And I've more recently been trying to be better about just like always making sure that they match in both rather than using a time offset, because it's so, I also try to make sure the Blender version number up here matches my it would be nice if it matches the Nuke version. However, I mean, that's never going to happen. But I at least try to make sure that the version number up here matches the output render folder that I use. Even if I'm skipping folder numbers, I try to do that. Okay, I'm going to find an HDRI. That's what we're going to do today, guys. Find an HDRI. I always find these indoor HDRIs a little more difficult to find. Just a little more difficult. So I'm going to go to HDRI Haven. We'll just see, find anything that roughly matches. The problem is the ground is always freaking different. Thanks, Bearground Productions. I mean, I might not get to sculpting today. We'll see. We might do some of the sculpting. Gotta kind of like, let's just do that. Just need to be able to see what I'm looking at here. You're right. I probably should just image project the video. Oh, just for the ground. Yeah. I either do that or I try to create a clean plate version of it first. I think, like, I'm trying to find Christmas Photo Studio. This might actually work. No. No, no, no. I mean, you know what we could also do, and I've done this a few times, and I might want to do it again just because I think it'll get us in the right ballpark. If we add an environmental texture and then load in our EXR sequence that we have, which will be this one. And I'm just actually going to load in a single EXR. I think that's the smarter move. So let's go to the plate, load in this one EXR, and make it a single image. And then now, if we add in a mesh, let's go ahead and add in a UV sphere here. I'm going to delete that real quick. This reference cube, let's go ahead and add the cursor to selected, and then we'll hide the reference cube. And let's just add in a little sphere. Just a little sphere. Go a little bit later in the shot. And this guy now, let's just shade smooth you. So oftentimes, if I can't find an HDRI that perfectly matches where we're going to get the right reflections and whatnot, sometimes I load just the EXR from the actual plate in and load that as an environmental texture. Now, it's not a 360, but it's at least the right color space as the environment that you're in. And so it has the same ISO and everything. Obviously, I mean, it's, you know, of course it does, because it's the shot. And then if we take this plane here, we'll go to visibility and then shadow catcher. Okay, great. And now this guy, let's go ahead and add a new material to him. Change the roughness to nothing, and then we'll make the metallic full. Perfect. Now our plane, as Hasselhoff was saying, this is probably a pretty good idea. We'll go to the last frame here, hit new, and we'll call this projection. And if I create a shader editor window over here with an image texture, we can go ahead and open up the plate. And again, I'm going to deselect all of that and select this last frame here. Plug that directly in, and when I go to tab and I select everything, I'm going to say project from view over inside of our camera view here. And if we view it, we disable the shadow catcher, should look like it's from the camera angle that is taking place here. It looks like it's close. It's not perfect. If we need it to be perfect, we can always subdivide more. This usually fixes everything. Project from view. And let's see, let's go over here. Make sure we're using UV. I don't know why I'm having an issue with the project from view right now. It's super weird. I shouldn't have to subdivide it that many times, honestly. It probably should have worked right off the bat. Oh, unless there's like something weird going on with the UVs. Shade flat. What the heck is going on with these UVs, man? All right, so we'll just add a new plane. I think there's something messed up with that plane. Do cursor to selected and then add in a new plane. Scale that plane up. Grab this card that came from Nuke. Something is broken on it, so we're just not going to use it, guys. I'm going to use a plane because planes are better. Regular planes. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and subdivide this a few times. You shouldn't really have to subdivide it all that many times. We'll go over here and do project from view. And if we go into our here and then select projection, just do a few. It like should just kind of work. Yeah, see? So now that projects the actual plate onto the card from that orientation. And that actually works really nicely because it'll give you kind of like the reflections that are expected in any particular angle. So that should work. Now, if we then select our object here and then do shadow catcher, we will only get the shadows from our environment. Now, we have reflections handled and kind of like the color space of this sphere handled, but we actually need to also then, which this will be a fun, challenging shot. So I did a Christmas film this year, which I know you don't really think of big VFX shots on Christmas films, but we had to comp a bunch of Christmas trees into a lobby. And one of the interesting things we had to do was something very similar to this shot here. Now, this definitely looks like it's floating, not because there's no shadows, but because the sun reflection out from this window here is going through our CG object that we have. So later in our comp, we're going to have to do a fun little special thing that I had to do on some shots in a Christmas film that I had to do this year, where you're basically going to have to fake remove the shadows from your comp or from the shot. Because the shadows or that reflective surface should not be reflecting anything if an object is in front of it. So that is one thing to note, and that's why sometimes your objects will look like they're floating. It's because they're not blocking any light sources that are refracting light off of a surface how it should be. So that's just one thing to note, of course. Let's go ahead and save that. And yeah. Great. Now our reflections look pretty good, but I would say our lighting doesn't match. We should have a little bit of a shadow here, kind of from some window behind us, essentially. And we can add all of these things in ourselves. So we're going to go ahead and move our cursor over here, and let's first add a area light. Scale this guy down and just rotate him towards the sphere, I think. We're just going to try to match kind of like the amount of shadows that we're getting here. We're just going to kind of like manually do all of this stuff, okay? So roughly already, that's looking pretty dang close. I will want to make sure that every light that we do is not appearing on our glossy surface here. We'll just want it to probably also not be under volume scatter. And transmission should be fine, although we could disable it. We really just want this diffuse option, which is our shadow on the ground. That's essentially all we're doing right now, is making shadows that will allow our object to sit inside of the world how other objects inside this world are. And you can match, like we have real like windows here, so it's a lot easier to match these things now that we have that as a source. I might want to change the angle on this, just for it to spread out a little bit more. Because like the smaller the angle is, the sharper your shadows are going to be. So we might want this to be like a 200. I guess 180 is the largest it can be, isn't it? Just trying to, a little less diffusion essentially. If we scale this up, it'll also change that angle. Probably somewhere around there. Looks about right. 6.6. Yeah, I like that. Might need to adjust that in a minute. But we want these lights here to now create a little bit more of a shadow. Though we are getting some heavy shadows here going this direction. So whatever the light source is behind the camera is definitely a lot more potent than in the opposite direction. Just have a little bit You can see right here a little bit of darkening happening. So I might want the other side here to duplicate this light and probably orient that right around there, I think. And make this a lot less powerful. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now, again, we're not getting the reflective surface that we should be getting. So there's a couple ways to do this. First of which, right now we're only using this as a shadow catcher. So if we disable the shadow catcher, we're going to be able to get a little bit more of the surfaces that we may want on here. But they already have pre-baked in lighting, you know, kind of like issues with them. But if we take this, for instance, and we go to our shader editor, we can go in and then say, hey, we want our roughness to be like more reflective, essentially. And now we can get our kind of like reflective surface that we have. But that's not going to be like a perfect situation for us because we need to create the bumps that are on the ground. Because right now it's got like this kind of like dirty bump texture that's going on to it. We might be able to find some kind of textures on Polyhaven that can get us that concrete floor material. Something like this, worn tile floor. This might be perfect. Let's go and download this guy into our... Let's create an assets folder. Now I already have the 3D asset of the Demigorgon, so I'll just create a 2D folder now. And we'll go ahead and save it into this guy. So let's download this. Perfect. Just going to unzip it. And let's take a look at what textures we have here. So we do have this displacement texture, and then we have a roughness and a normals. Let's take a look at the normals. So first of all, if we load the normals, it's going to be like this projection that we had already used for the rest of our for our other texture. If we use generate it maybe, and then the value, whoops, we'll add a value node that plugs into the scale. We can maybe get a little bit smaller of a texture. One problem we're going to run into with this one is that it's tiles, whereas we might not want tiles. So maybe straight up just damaged concrete would be better. Let's go and download that. So now if we go back over to our 2D assets, we got damaged concrete. And we'll take a look at the textures here. So we'll take the normal in for this one. And we'll just delete that real quick. So now if we go view this, we have all these normals plugged in. So I'm going to use a normal map, I think. We'll plug our normal into that before it plugs into our principled BSDF. And there you go. We're already adding in some like these really nice refractions as if this material here has that same exact normals to it. You can even see it all over here. But we're creating like these refraction or bumps in the reflective surfaces of the ground. And we can test this out. So like, let's just take this object here. We're going to render it out with this visible. Now, that's different than what we were going to do before. But that's because we're going to break things into different render passes inside of our Blender here. So if we go over to our view layers option, now I always like to turn on crypto mats. So we'll turn on objects and materials for crypto mats. But they've got all of these other lighting crypto mats that we can enable if we want them. So for glossy, for instance, we will have direct and indirect. Now glossy is that reflective surface on the ground. And we're going to need to be able to adjust what the reflections are doing on the ground later. So we're going to select direct and indirect and maybe also color. We'll just give ourselves all of them. We'll do the same with the diffuse options there. And I don't think we really need anything else. We'll do normals. And I think that should cover everything right for right now. We might enable more stuff later. So again, we have our render. We're just going to overwrite it because this is just a test render. And I suppose we can change this to version 2. So let's do render animation. Because the last one was a cube. This time we're doing a sphere with the lighting reference in it. So just go and render this out. The reason I like to use render animation is it's going to automatically create the EXR for us. You do it as render image and hit the save button as well to give you the same result. But as you can see, we now have our reflective surface on the ground, and that's the important part. So we'll just wait till it hits the next frame. Perfect. I'm just going to cancel. So now if we go inside of Nuke, we're going to import our OpenEXR multi-layer that we had. But this time, it's going to have a bunch of other options. So we'll do, version 2 and import our render. And we're going to make sure that we tag it as ACES CG, just to be certain. Now when we shuffle it, we've got our marble on the ground with the reflective surface and the whole ground. So we're going to need to do a couple things. So first of all, we're going to need to, okay, I'm going to, just because I don't like the green line, I'm going to go up here and do distortion, not link it. This is going to give us our redistort without the green line. It's just driving me crazy, guys, and I don't want it. Okay, so yeah, now if you could see that we're just redistorting our footage here, and it's actually giving us all the pixels all the way to the edge, which is exactly what we were talking about earlier, was just making sure that we had that. But it gives us an unwanted thing now when we render this out, which is the ground. And so if we comp that back in over top of our shot, we now have a ground that we don't need and we definitely don't want. So we need to be able to clean that up and remove it. So I'm going to just move everything up here before these reformat nodes happen. Just go and delete that. And I'm going to do a couple things. First of all, we're going to select a crypto mat, and we could just plug our crypto mat in, and you can see right off the bat, we could select our ground and we could stencil that out, or I'm probably going to do it by the ground rather than the object, because later we're going to be swapping out the object to something else. But our plain ground is always going to be the same for us. So once we set this up, it'll just work. And if we use the merge node, we can merge that over. Now, we're not going to use the over merge. I'm probably going to use the stencil option here. And then now we've got ourselves a crypto mat that is removing the ground. It is giving us some weird artifacts up here. Something to watch out for. But now you can see that we only have the ground, but we don't have shadows and we don't have reflections. So that is something to note that we will need to fix. It also gives us this artifact in the background, so we'll have to check that as well. And honestly, the way to fix maybe the artifact in the background is later make it so it's not a stencil, but it's a mask, and we're selecting the object that we want to keep, which might be the marble instead. But now, okay, great. We have this crypto mat. We can also do another shuffle, I think. And I'm actually going to move this up and over. I think this is the best way to do it. It's the cleanest way to do it. This is our shuffle that we are keeping. Let's do another shuffle. Essentially, we want now the shadows to be comped in. So if we use, you can see that now we have all of these other options here. We use diffuse color. This is the diffusion color of the entire, everything that's basically a diffuse inside of our scene, which we don't have any diffuse on our marble because it's 100% reflective. But if we did have any diffusion on our marble, we would see that there. Then we have diffusion direction, which now gives us kind of like these like shadows of all of our lighting inside of Blender, which is pretty cool. Might be able to use that for later. We have diffusion indirect. Now this is indirect lighting. All of the lighting from your kind of your HDRI, and it's basically indirect lighting sources that are creating shadows on your scene. So bounce lighting or anything else like that. You also have your glossy color, your glossy direction, and this is where we get some of the bumps inside of our shot here. We have glossy indirect. Now this one's really useful because this is all of your indirect glossy reflections. We can actually use this later for anything that we want. And you've got your noisy image as well as normals. So that's pretty much everything that you have. I don't think we rendered out any shadow passes, and I'm not sure that you can render out. Let's see, shadow. Oh, here we go. Pass containing shadows and light, which is to be multiplied into your backdrop. Let's do that, and ambient occlusion. I think, and if we wanted to, we could do emission if we actually had any emission sources. Well, let's just render that again with the shadows. Forgot to do that. We want to be able to have our shadows over top of our scene, as well as the reflections, by the way. We can then comp the reflections into anything that we need. Rather than trying to get it all inside of Blender, you can control a lot more in fine detail inside of Nuke or any compositing software that you're using, After Effects or even Blender's compositor. It's really useful to have all these passes as separate passes. You don't get locked into anything, basically, is the point. Okay, let's go ahead and minimize this again, and I just rendered over it, so if we hit reload, now if we go to our shuffle node, we should be able to see that we have another pass. So this is our ambient occlusion that we have for our entire sequence. If we were trying to reapply shadows to everything, we could totally do that. In fact, actually, we could reapply shadows to just the ground here as well. And then let's see, we should have the shadow catcher. Doesn't look like, I don't think because I had shadow catcher enabled on anything that it was going to do it. It certainly uses AO option. So this is something else to note. Do you see these like number values down here? Let's see if I can make this a little larger. You see these number values down here. I'm also going to move my face up, I think. That way I'm not in the way. But you see these number values down here. It's like 0.99. That means that this isn't like pure white, whereas it should be a value of 1. If it is a value of 1 on everything like this is right here, then it will not multiply later. And I'll show you what I mean. So if I take this now, this shuffle node where we're putting the AO into the RGBA, I can actually take this all the way down here, and we actually might want this. We might want this first because we're applying the shadows before we put the CG object in, front to back, essentially. So if I like add a dot in here, you can see this is your regular plate that you're going to have, and we need to put the shadows on the ground here. So if I used a merge node and just like drop that in over top, obviously this isn't what we want because it's showing like the whole marble and everything like that. But if you did, let's see, this right here is just the ground, for instance, as a mask option. So actually do us better to put this over here. Just trying to keep things organized, guys. I'm sorry, I'm not even showing it. But if we put this ground over here, we just want the alpha of the ground, essentially. So if I do another merge node with the A plugged into here and kind of see what we're doing. This option now we say, hey, I only want this to be the mask. So we're only getting the shadows essentially that are on the ground here. Everything else is just going to be pure white, is essentially what we want. And then if we merge that over top of this, we could say, hey, multiply it. So now you're going to multiply anything that's black as like a math sequence, right? You're creating these shadows on the ground. Now, obviously we don't want it to create like these big black, like where there was nothing. So we'll need to do is another merge node. And second, let's clean this up real quick. We'll add a constant. I think this is just the best way to do it. There might be another way to do it that's just cleaner, but if we set this value to 1, then this right here, your value of 1, will then be in the background of this. And this right here should just be, I think what we should do, using this node right here, we'll do an expression, and then we'll set the alpha, I think, to 1. So that way it just sets everything to 1. So then when you mask it, you're essentially getting just the alpha. And then when you drop this over top of everything, it's not plussing anything. Ideally, though, you don't want to see this ground over here. This ground is too dark, so it's actually going to create shadows on your overall world slightly. You can kind of see my numbers slightly changing. It's very hard to see with the naked eye, but if we want to be precise about it, there is a way to fix it. So what we got to do is after this expression node here, we'll add a grade node in. And all we want to do is set the white point to kind of like this gray area over here. So we just set that there, and it should just boost this value and set it to 1. The only issue is now you're going to have over 1, which will lighten your entire scene. So what we want to do is hit white clamp. That's going to make it so that it never goes over 1, or it's only going down on the values. And you can kind of see that all over here. This is all just 1. There's a couple times it blips a little bit, so we might want to adjust that, but for the most part, everything is pretty normalized here. I think I could live with the amount that we're not seeing, but then the shadows here are kind of still now being added in. So when we add this mask node and then we add it over top of this, you'll see that everything kind of just blends together pretty nicely. And I might do, for our sake right now, let's do a -1. It's going to get rid of that horizon line, a little undesirable. And now we're adding kind of like this shadow of this marble into our shot. And then now when we add the marble in over top of it, it will now have the shadow, which is pretty nice. We're just giving ourselves a dilate might actually be messing us up here. Let's just clean this up a little bit. So I'm going to do dilate only in the horizon line, not where the marble selection is happening. So if we do that, should work. Yeah, we'll still get that outline, but that's a fine outline to have. I don't know, is it something I'm doing incorrectly upstream that's creating that? I'll have to figure that out. Okay, so then now we've got this marble here. So we're going to hit the save button. Luckily, we're not going to have to do too much tracking because there isn't really that much movement on any of the 3D side of things over here. But if we needed to, we could set keyframes and all that kind of stuff on this roto here to make sure that it's not interfering with the rest of our stuff. Next up, so now we have that done. This is just our shadow. We want to add in kind of like the reflection, probably before it, honestly. So if we just go ahead and move this a little bit over here, just give myself a little bit of room. Might even move the entire comp a little bit over. What we need to do now is create another shuffle node. And we'll see. We'll go into here. We'll select our, I believe it'll be our glossy direction. It's either that do really like that. Let's do glossy indirect. Oh, there we go. So our indirect glossy pass that we have is this, but it's not alpha. There is no like, hey, this is the only section that you're using. And I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, but the way I found is a little janky, but we're going to do it anyways. we like our janky methods around here, you know? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this exact same. We're going to just grab this for our mask option. So let's go ahead and select that over here, and we'll set this merge node over here to our mask. So now we're only going to have the reflective pass on the ground like we want it. And for me, I'm just going to hide the inputs. That way we don't have a bunch of lines going all over the place. But I want to also then take this and we need to create some kind of method for us to be able to use this. I think if I just try to drop this in over top, we could do it this way. We don't need an alpha, right? Because then what we're doing is then we're adding the shadows in, and then we're dropping the marble in over top. And that could work. Now we've got our reflective surface here, and that all does fine and dandy. I think we will need a mask of this though at some point. And the reason why we'll need a mask of it is because I need to remove the lighting that was there before, this lighting. This has to be like blocked out by the marble. And then we have to create a clean version, and then which is projected. And then from there we add the glossy back in. And we could do that all inside of the 3D nuke settings over here. So if we go to this window here, let's see, we'll hit the save button. And let's go ahead and add a frame hold on this last frame. And if I add in a roto paint node, I don't know why I didn't just press P on my keyboard, but if I add in a roto paint node here, do this manually, or we could just go to Photoshop and do it in 2 seconds. We're going to do it manually because it's more fun, guys. Actually, I wonder how well Photoshop would do it. I think that's the thing. I'm curious if Photoshop will do this well. I'm sure it will. So if we go to elements here, I'm going to just save this out as a underscore visual out with the frame number for later referencing. And we'll save this as an output 709. If we hit render, I'm just going to select this last frame. Let's go ahead and open up our Photoshop, which I'm not even showing you guys my screen, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to open up Photoshop. Oh my goodness, we got votes on other things. We now have 9 votes. Tracking a shot filmed on a potato, and then also matching grain. You know, funny story about the matching grain. One of the first ever shots I did that was for another studio. It was like a freelance job. I had to match grain, and I had never done anything like that. And it was an absolute nightmare to do. But I feel like once you kind of figure out the tricks for it, it's a little easier, but it's certainly not a freebie. Okay, so I'm going to try using Photoshop here. We'll see how well this works. We're just going to select that, and let's say remove reflection. Will that work? Is that even better? No, it's not. Okay, I was going to try to do the easy method. We're not doing the easy method. We're going to use this roto paint node and we're just going to paint it out manually. I don't think this is the worst thing in the world. So I'm going to use a little bit of clone stamping and we're just going to get in the groove, guys. That's the way to do it. You just have to get in the groove. Maybe 0.1, I think. Just trying to create like a bit of a diffuse pass here. And for the marble, we don't really need that much of the ground to have no reflections on it. I spent longer time opening up Photoshop and saving this out than it would have just for me to just paint it myself. But, you know, you have those moments when you're doing VFX where you're just like, oh, I'm lazy. I'm just going to try to use the new tools. And then you go try to do the new tool method and then you realize it was just faster for you to do it how you've done it before. You just didn't want to do it, Connor. That's what it was. In the end of the day, you just didn't want to do it. Here we are. Hand painting concrete back in. Okay. Creating a little bit of a diffuse pass here of the ground. That's essentially what we're doing is we're faking the fact that there's no reflective surfaces on the ground. Which, you know, if we filmed this ourselves, we could have asked them to shoot a clean plate where they dried off the ground or something. Not that they would have wanted to, but we could have. We had full control over the shoot. Although I don't know how realistic it is to ask for things like that. I've not myself ever been on a set where I could even get more than just a clean plate of like no actors in the shot. Okay, so this is essentially just removing out the reflections on the ground. Really basic, nothing crazy. I don't think we need anything else. I think that's all pretty good. So we'll use this, we'll keep this row to paint here and then this frame hold. Now this is on the last frame here. So if I just copy that, let's see, we're gonna move everything over, I think. And this camera here, let's just move you over to this side. And then this is the card of the ground. So I think the ground is in the right spot. It just needs this. So we'll plug in our clean plate that we just painted. And I'm also going to use a project from 3D. And we'll plug this into our camera and then this into that. So now we've got our projection. We're just going to project this clean plate onto this card from that angle. So now if we go look at it, beautiful, works perfect. Just disable this. We don't need that anymore. We just need this reflective surface. So go save that. Go back over here. And now we've got our ground, which we'll need to enable auto alpha. So that way it's not doing anything stupid. All right. Beautiful. So now if we go back to our first frame here, everything moves appropriately. If I disable that, you should see for the most part kind of lines up. Not perfect. That's not good. So we're going to fix it. We shall fix it. Just set the keyframes here. I think if we just manually drag it, we could probably get away with what we need to. So wait, disabled. Oh no, that's enabled. That's why I was literally going like the opposite direction of what I needed. Okay. Beautiful. Let's go halfway through. We're only using this for reflections, so it doesn't have to be perfect, I guess. It should be close, but we'll see. We'll see how bad it is. Okay, great. So now we are, we don't want to merge this over top of everything here. We actually only want to merge it when we need it. So let's go and delete this extra dot here. The thing I was talking about earlier is we need the kind of like a alpha pass of this. So somehow we have to create an alpha pass. Probably just do that through this, I think. So if we just like boosted everything, I think that should work. Let's do white clamping, so that way it just like makes it just a white output render. And then now if we do it here, that just creates an alpha pass for us of this section now. I'm sorry, this is getting a little messy, but we'll move this all the way over here. But this right here, we can then use this with a merge node, and we'll drop that in over top of everything. And we'll say, hey, I want this to be a mask. So now it's going to output the diffuse only where basically the reflections are being cast. And now if we just merge that over top of everything, you'll notice that creates kind of like this grayed out reflective pass. Now, I also probably want to blur this just a little bit, just to create a little bit softer of a thing. And the reason why, I mean, now you can see, is that we're blocking out kind of like the reflection from the windows there. So that way when we add back in our marble and everything, we're adding in that reflective pass exactly how we want it to. So it's basically like you have to remove the real world reflections to add back in your own reflections. And now that we've done that, we can kind of see that this is not working as well. So we can dial back a little bit of the amount of reflections that we're seeing there. We'll probably do a little bit less. Perfect. And then, you know, our shadows that we have, we can also dial that back a little bit as well. Just trying to match the overall shadow amounts from the marble in this CG world now to the real world. And there you go. So this should work for the most part. Let's dial this back a little bit. And then just blur this a little more just to create a little bit of a softer edge there. There you go. So now we're kind of like creating a clean pass all under the undistorted version of the shot. Hey, Alexander, welcome to the chat. Okay, the other thing that we'll want to do also with this is that these reflection passes here are not currently lining up with the actual marble. And the only reason why is because I haven't added the reformat and distortion back into it. So we'll want to do that here. Let's go ahead and disable that. Bring that down here. And then again with this one. Rotoscoping hair 1000%. 1000%. I don't know. I think that is an annoyance. The first ever VFX task I ever had to do was technically rotoscoping hair. So that was the Along Came the Devil shot that I did. And yeah, that was not fun. But I will say there's, I think, more tricks to rotoscoping hair than there is to tracking like a shot filmed on a potato. I think that's the thing. To me, I feel like there's more tricks for rotoscoping hair than there are tricks for some of these other options. That's just my 2 cents. All right, guys, I think this is looking pretty good. So from our original shot here to painting out the reflections, adding in our own new reflections, adding some shadows over top of those reflections, and then adding in our CG layer. Now, why did we spend so much time today working on this marble? Well, it's because now that we have the lighting and everything done with a really nice reflective object where we're creating all of the shadow passes and reflection passes, we can now go in and create our actual CG character, and it will sit right in our scene. All we have to do is just replace our CG output render over here. So that's why I always like to do these things one at a time, start really basic, and then we can then go in and make our adjustments accordingly. But yeah, so that being said, we can now go in and do some sculpting inside of Blender for our Demogorgon, as promised. As promised. Because I mean, as this is the title and thumbnail suggest we will be doing Stranger Things thing. We will not be adding a marble into our film. But yeah, I mean, it is fun. Adding marbles into a film is by far the most fun thing that you can do. Do want to make sure this dilate mask options. That's for our shadows. So it still does it for our CG world. I think we'll need to do this. So it's stenciling. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's do this thing real quick. Let's see if we can dilate that. Okay, I don't think this is a good idea. Let's see if we can fix this by instead using the mask option. Yeah, let's use the mask option with a new crypto mat setup. Here. Whoopsies. And you're going to come from here, and then this crypto mat is going to be, let's clear this, the marble, which we can update later with whatever objects we want. But that should give us a better, yes, no lines. No ugly horizon lines. We got rid of it, guys. Let's go ahead and save that. Okay, that'll work perfect. As far as this goes, this was supposed to be the, yeah, we do need it to be that, so is what it is. But I think that that option works a lot better. So now, okay, got the lighting, shadows, and reflections from our character here. Now we can go in and we can start doing actual CG stuff. I'm going to close our, see, we didn't even use AI today, guys. No AI from us. We are good without AI. For now. For now. Until we need it later. Okay, great. So I'm going to go ahead into our 3D window over here. I'm going to actually open our Demogorgon scene. Now, I got this from a blend swap thing. It's not high res whatsoever. Who do I give credit to for this? 1 second. I will figure out. But I did not create this. But we will be changing it significantly. So that is a fact. Once I figure out who to give credit to on this thing. Blend swap, Demogorgon. Found it. It's actually already had like 1,000 downloads and all that stuff. It's made by M. Wieringa. Creator M. Wieringa. I'll throw it in the chat. There you guys go. Thank you to M. Wieringa for your lovely 3D model that we'll be using. That we'll be changing. But there you go. Let's go ahead and we're going to delete the background on this thing. I'm going to delete all the Oh, what? Oh, does he emit particles? Very interesting. Glowing dust. Well, that's good to know. And then it also does have sound effects, by the way. So this is the animation that it came with. I'll play it for you guys. So there's your little fun scare for the day. We're gonna turn off the sounds and all that stuff. We don't need the sounds. We'll probably be redoing. I don't even know if we'll be redoing the rig. Probably actually redo the rig. Yeah, pretty cool model. If you guys haven't used Blend Swap before, it's pretty sweet platform for trading 3D models. What am I trying to open right now? So that's timeline. I don't want timeline. I want the sequencer, right? My brain is broken. So that's video sequencer. Is that where it would be under? Holy cow. What is all of this? Just gonna delete it all. Yeah, okay, so it doesn't have sound effects anymore. Fantastic. Probably want to get rid of the animation as well. So we'll just delete all the animation. And we'll save as a new 3D model. So I'm going to save it into this folder. And call it Demogorgon. And then we'll call it Asset. And then version 1. I'm going to lowercase it because we don't need any caps in our project files. Thank you very much. Okay, fantastic. Now the camera is locked to my thing. I'll probably just delete the camera. I don't need the camera. We'll delete all of the lights. Here, if we just delete that, it'll perfect, actually. And then our glowing dust will just turn off for right now. And that should be pretty good. I don't know what this shroud is. What is the shroud? We'll delete you. We don't need it. What is this plane? We'll delete you. We don't need you. Delete the collection. So now we've got this cube and this, whatever that is. We'll delete you. So now we have our base mesh model that we have. I'm going to hit the save button. It's pretty low poly, but it does have textures on it already. Oh, that is some Demogorgon bootay right there, guys. Some Demogorgon bootay. I did check on the YouTube video that this was not made for kids. So there is that. You could take it up with Mr. YouTube himself. The other thing I don't really like is any of the mouth. I don't know what this is. It was funny because there is a lot of 3D models online that are like higher quality, but they all cost money. And I wasn't about to go buy a 3D model. I was just like, that's not going to happen. Not today. Today we are going to do it all ourselves. Yeah. Okay, great. So we're going to need to add some teeth on here and all sorts of jazz. Let's look at some reference images, shall we? I did download. This is the thumbnail of today. Let's go and open that guy up. This is from the movie. Pretty creepy, huh? That's we have our work cut out for us, don't we? I think for the most part, what we'll do right now is let's just view it in solid view. Oh my god, we have issues. When you realize that you have to do a lot of work. So that's default. Let's go to general layout. There we go. Got ourselves some fingers. Guys, this might be a project. This might be a project. I didn't even look at this 3D model before we started the live stream. I'm not going to lie. Let's see, let's go over to here. Face orientation. So yeah, that's going to be problematic. If we do... Okay, well, we're going to need to clean up quite a bit, I think. Let's deselect all of these as much as possible. Just want to make sure we're selected on the red faces for cleaning up. Then after that, we can go in and start subdividing and then adding some sculpt details. By the way, this is a similar process of what I did for my short film Bad Omen. I bought a base model on Turbo Squid. I actually purchased that one though. And just wasn't high enough quality. I don't know. See, I think I have there's a weird balance of like what you want creatively your thing to look like. And then after that, costs, but then also if it's available, because just because you want like a 3D model doesn't mean it exists. I was surprised by how limited the Demigorgon options were actually. Surprised this guy was able to get the weight paint to work with as much face flops there were. But you know, he did get it to work. We did delete that though, so now we no longer have it. Now we have to redo everything. Our goal today, I don't know what a good stopping point will be because we're not going to finish sculpting today, but gotta love models from other people. 100%. 100%. This is my life, is just constantly fixing face flops. It's either me that's doing bad face flops or some 3D model that I downloaded from online. Flop in the face. What up, Nickies? How you doing? Welcome into the chat. I asked you a question the other day on Discord, and then I think you just didn't see it or something. Well, you asked a question, and then I was trying to answer your question, and then that's how it works. Okay, and then we'll deselect that. And deselect that. Remember, Connor, edit mode, A and then Shift N. Is Shift N to recalculate normals? Wait, oh, I could have just recalculated. Oh my god. Oh my god. Well, thank you, Hasselhoff. I when I started doing this, my brain went, isn't there a auto recalculate normals thing? And I'm like, maybe I'm just crazy. That was probably just a dream I had one day that it existed. You thought you'd let me cook for a while? Okay. We're talking a 2-week ban for you, Hasselhoff. I'm just kidding. Appreciate it, though. This mouth is going to be fun. I don't think we were really going to see on the inside of it, though, because if you look onto the interior of any time we really see it in the film or show, it's pretty dark, so we can get away with not seeing too much. Why am I seeing some red glitchies when I zoom out like this? There's like some red glitchies. Is it actually red? No. Don't hit me with the 2 weeks. 2-week ban. All right, so that's going to be good. So now when we select this, we can go to our modifiers and we'll probably deselect armature because we're getting rid of that. We'll also get rid of our particle sim. I mean, really, we'll add it. We can add all that stuff ourselves. We don't need the stuff that this guy gave us. I really only wanted to download the 3D model to just get the basic shape because I hate creating the basic shape, but I do like sculpting after you have the basic shape. So now let's see. Let's find some cool demo Gorgon. Stranger Things. Give me some cool images, if you will. If you shall, please give me some cool imageries. Oh, that's cool. What is this? Wow. That's cool. I like a lot of that. So what we're just going to really do is we'll pull this up as a reference over here, and then I can go to our modifiers and we will use a multi-resolution. Why do we use multi-resolution? Great question. Ask a real YouTuber. I don't know. I've just learned, a real sculptor. I just been told to do so over the years. Sculpt mode, and then now we can start doing some beauty work, guys. Some beauty work. First of all, it's already looking better just because we upped the resolution on the thing. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna add in some more detail if we can, in order to easily bake the displacement. Well, guys, Hasselhoff knows all the answers. Just ask him. I'm gonna scale that down, I think, and then just add in some. Not a surreal sculptor, by the way. Oh, I'm definitely not. I think the amount of times I've ever sculpted a character has been on live stream. Because I don't do this ever for my job. I always buy 3D models for every single project I work on. All right, let's do that. We'll save. Make sure to hit the shave button, by the way, boys. The shave button. Why am I getting sharp edges here? What's that about? Draw? Yeah, what is this sharp edge thing going on here? What are we doing? I actually don't know what's going on here. I do know we want to turn on like Dino topology. What the hell? What's not face orientations? Okay, one second. Go back over to object mode. Let's just delete this for a second. And we're going to make sure this is clean. I didn't do this before. We'll do merge by distance. Okay. Why are we getting weird results? I don't understand. Everything is one object. Should. Guys, I probably shouldn't have used someone else's 3D model. I'll tell you that right now. Let's go over here into our sculpt settings. Like this is getting like flat. And I'm not quite sure. Hasselhoff, you're going to have to give me some suggestions here. What is going on? Did that work? Why is that getting all weirdly formatted? Show topology. Well, that's the topology. Suppose I could. Do I have the I used to have a app. What was it called? What was it called? What was it called? Was it called when you what is it called? And really uneven quads. There are some faces inside. No. I don't think so. Like I cleaned up all the normals. Quad remesher? Isn't that directly inside of Blender? Do quad flow remesh. One of the mesh needs to be manifold and have face normals that point in a consistent direction. They do! Unless you're talking about this, which is maybe problematic. Yeah, that's probably what the issue is, guys. That's disgusting. Okay, let's let's fix some of this. So the mouth here, I didn't really want to do this, but it's okay. We can do it now. No time like the present to fix issues. Oh, it literally, that's weird. I don't know why why did this guy do this? So, oh, that's not good. Yeah. So, okay. So what we're going to need to do is select all of these vertices here. And then we'll just have to create a mouth, which we will do. These connect to like the faces on the inside of the model, and then it just all of a sudden becomes hollow. Do F3, and then we'll do well, that didn't work. I tried doing bridge edge loops, but I don't did not work. So instead we'll just Use the fancy old fill option, guys. Okay, so let's see if that works. Yeah, I did like a what do they call that? Normal direction. That should be fine, but I do want to remove all of our vertex groups here, guys. I think that can also be problematic. I don't want any more vertex groups. I don't need those right now. Okay, so we did a voxel remesh. Object has not been uniform scale sculpted and may be unpredictable. Okay, cool. So now this draw here should maybe work. Yeah, it does, kind of. So now if we go over to this, we could do multi-res. We probably don't need that much because I did do a voxel remesh. The only issue with doing a voxel remesh but from before is that everything was really low poly. So we might want to do a subdivide surface first just to smooth out some of the ugliness of it. Yeah, it's pretty good. And then we'll go ahead and hit the apply. Marvin Studios, I didn't make the 3D model. We're fixing the 3D model right now, but it's from a website called Blend Swap. Okay, so now we hit the remesh button. That's going to give us a full remesh that we can work with. What is going on, dude? It's so weird. It acts so weird. It goes down. Object has non-uniform scale. Sculpting may be unpredictable. Oh, is that what's going on? Wait a second. Guys. Our scale's weird. Look at this. Apply the scale. That was probably that's the issue. Yep. That was the issue. Apply your transforms. Always apply your transforms when working on sculpting. The lesson of the day. All right, let's go ahead and start over here. I do think there were other things that I had to fix and that I did fix, and then that was all good. But there we go. Just going to add a little bit of whoa. Just add some muscles. We like muscles. We like muscles. Which is hilarious because all I had to do was read the message at the bottom. It just kept telling me like your you know, your object has no is not, it's not, the scale is off. And I was like, what is it talking about? What is it talking about? That's what it's talking about. And we'll go ahead and get some... Yeah, I haven't seen... guys, I think that's the problem with Stranger Things is it's been so long that I think a lot of people are going to have a hard time remembering what the hell happened. So then you got to like rewatch the whole thing, which maybe isn't the worst thing in the world, you know? Like maybe that's exactly what they want it. They want you to have to go back and rewatch, get all the details from before. That's really what they really want. Ooh, yeah, maybe we're at those. Subdivide again, I think. Yeah, I haven't used ZBrush, honestly. Always kind of wanted to. It's just, it's one of those things where it's like so expensive that I haven't wanted to, and I don't need it. I'm never going to need it. Because by the time I'm ever doing projects where I have to charge for something like that, I feel like it's more worth it for me to just hire a professional. I think that's the one thing I've learned the most in visual effects is that ultimately in the end of the day, like I used to think like when I was making films, like any type of film, I'd be like, oh, you have to do everything yourself. Like, you know, you as an artist will have to do everything yourself. But I think that's the biggest thing I've learned is that that's not true at all. I think like it's so funny that that kind of misconception that a singular artist has to know how to do everything. It's not even close. Like, you need to know how to do what you need to do. And that's pretty much it. I think it's a good idea to know how everything works. Keeps you educated. But I don't think you need to know how to proficiently do every single part of a job. Let's save that. Just kind of drawing on some of these like muscles here. I don't know what I'm drawing, guys. Don't judge until it's done. Oh my god. Smooth that out. Just looking at the reference image over here, and I'm just trying to add some detail. Like solid. I don't know what muscles look like. I've never had muscles before. I think that's pretty good, and we'll just smooth out some of this. You're judging me in silence. Damn it. At least if you judge me out loud, I know that I'm being bad. Is it worse to know or not know that people are judging you, do you think? Like, is it worse to assume people are judging you but not know for sure? Or know for sure? I don't know. Want some thigh muscles here, guys. Give me some nice... Oh, this guy skipped leg day for sure. Is this someone's ZBrush? Nice. Yeah, is it better to think that people are but not know for sure, or know for sure? I don't know. I think I by nature would like to know, cuz I'm going to assume it anyways, right? Like I would rather know, I think, cuz otherwise I'll think worse of it, you know? Like you'll sit there be thinking that it's actually worse. Whoa. That guy's got a big leg right over there. Stronger. Yeah, we're making him muscular. Ooh, that's cool. All right, and then we'll go ahead and let's see. Never had muscles like this in my life. This is my ideal body shape right here, guys. This is what I want to be when I grow up. I mean, we can do that, guys. We can. You see this little inflate option? Oh my god. We could cake this guy up right here. Oh. Oh no. That's hilarious. Oh my god. What the back of these guys' heads look like? Yeah, it's the wrong version of Stranger Things. If you're watching that version of Stranger Things, you might want to click out of the website. New thumbnail. And to get you guys to do what like all the streamers have, click farming. You guys have to do what is it? Clip farming. Sorry, clip farming. You guys have to do some clips for me. It's actually this like might work. Expect that change from something terrifying to something else. It's a different feeling altogether, isn't it? Oh, that's cool. I like that. I'm going to keep all this. Then we'll just draw some lines, add some more muscular veinage. Okay. Now, this dude's like, it doesn't match this at all. It's got to be like sharper or something. I don't even know. Add a little bit of forearm detail to this or something. That's pretty cool. Not. His thighs are still pretty big, though. I will say that. Probably want to reverse blob it. Is the secret. Okay. Okay, guys. The feet look terrible in comparison, you know? Like, whoo, that's terrible. And, yeah, I think feet have always been a thing that I struggle with sculpting. Aliens exist, they do. It's what the government's been saying recently. No one's been paying attention. How do you think the aliens got, or the pyramids got built? Is that like not like a big insult to like the Egyptians though? Is be like, well, there's no way you guys did that. It had to have been aliens. Not really. I mean, he's gonna be hunched over, and we could even put like a dead body in front or something. Good textures and lighting go a long way. Monsters versus aliens. Good movie. Good movie. Although I imagine you're not even talking about the actual movie, are you? Oh yeah. Guys, that's pretty good. Imagine aliens are a glitch in the Matrix. You don't understand much of what he's saying, but I don't understand English very well, but I agree with him. Yes, I have the best takes. He just agrees. Dave agrees with me. Dave's got my back. That's all that matters. Let's use a little bit of drawing here. And Dave is cool. Let's add like the lips on this thing. That way when we add the teeth, it's a little Dave, you can be cool and Brazilian at the same time. All right. And then just do that on all of the lips, I think. Pretty cool, I think. Never been to Brazil, actually. To a few South American countries, but not to Brazil. Rio's in Brazil, right? Or am I crazy? I think I'd want to go to Rio. That'd be cool. Or no, I'm not thinking of Rio. Where am I thinking of? Yeah, Rio de Janeiro. Rio de Janeiro. That's what I'm talking about. Guys, honestly, we've come so far. And I'd also like to go to Machu Picchu. I mean, but that's like Peru, but you know. Okay. It's looking good, guys. Now we have to add in all the freaking teeth. Add in all the teeth. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna save that. Just not gonna look at the back. We don't really see the back in this VFX shot, so I'm not too concerned about it. Let's go ahead and add some teeth in, and I think that's it for today. I am a movie actor. Oh, I do. No, it's funny. I do look like I know who you're talking about. Look like what's his name? Ah, Nicolas Cage. I feel like I kind of look like Nicolas Cage. Do I not? Am I crazy on this? I feel like he's my celebrity doppelganger. Is he not? I feel like this is my celebrity doppelganger if I had one. Yeah. Nicolas Cage. Well, I've gotten told that so many times. Also, let's see, Tommy Lee Jones young. No, I don't think I do. People say I do because I think the hair. They say I do because of the hair, I think. This is people say I look like this, the hair. But I think it's mostly just the hairstyle. It's not really actually Tommy Lee Jones that I look like. I don't know. I don't see it anyways. Okay, I'm going to go to object mode here, and let's set that to 2 real quick. Go ahead and save that. Not. Yeah, I know. I disagree as well. I think I look more like, I think I look more like Connor Cage. Connor Cage? Oh my God. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage. Goodness, you got me in my head now. You got in my head. All right, let's add a cylinder. That's what we want. And scale that down. All right. How does one do teeth on a Demigorgon? You just gotta duplicate it a crap ton of times? Is that what we gotta do here? Oh, this is gonna suck. What movie? Superman Lives? What was my pitch on that one? I remember I said something. Let's get a different angle over here. No, I don't. How much does these teeth? I guess quite a bit. There's like a lot of teeth. Luckily, I think I'll mostly be able to duplicate this once I have it. Rotates a bit of visual effects for the Avengers. Oh, very cool. Yeah, I don't know all the YouTubers and stuff with VFX. I mostly just know a couple of the ones that people have shared on our Patreon of other people they know. Right, how much teeth are we going for here, guys? You don't understand anything, but you agree. Is the teeth going in? I guess they're going in, not out. Right? Oh, these are going in. All right, we'll have to clean that up. I could speak slower. I can speak slower. Which probably should make a habit of anyways. I think I probably talk too fast. It's a great question. I don't think anyone really knows the answer right now, Dave. I think right now it's a lot of uncertainty. I will say I think your better bet is to learn how to use AI as well. I think people don't want to right now because they're scared, but I think you should learn as well. I don't think you get rich from doing VFX though. I don't think you ever really did. So if that's your goal, then I would say uh don't think of VFX as a way to make a lot of money. It's not. How's that look? Is that enough teeth? Clean up the backside. How does that look for one? It's too complicated because of the advancement of AI and because it's becoming cheaper to do things. Yeah, I think the other interesting, my kind of theory on it too, is that more people will want VFX the cheaper it becomes. So it's like a weird catch 22. I think initially people will lose jobs, but after that, more people will get more jobs because more films will want VFX. I don't know. It's the way I kind of view it. I think the hard thing is that the opening, like starting out positions, will be harder to come by. I wouldn't hate it. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need to use it. You're gonna need to learn how to use it, as much as you might not want to. AI is here to stay, for better or worse. Okay, I think we'll want to select all the teeth. And then we do scale individual. Alt S. I'll make them smaller. Cool. Okay, so that's our 3D model. I'm gonna need to rig this guy so that way we can pose him. It's a pretty good reference image. Yeah. Okay, so now let's take this. I'm going to apply it. So we're going to apply the actual sculpt that we did, and then also select the teeth, and then let's just join it all together. Beautiful. So now let's save that. And we're probably going to run into some problems with rigging this guy. But it is what it is. All right, so with this, we'll just wait. Do base model. Save it. And I should check it? What do you mean? Let's go to armature, and I think if we do, it is armature, right? Viewport display, and then do in front. There we go. What do you mean check it? Okay, and then we'll do that, this. Do that, extrude out. Well, actually, this needs to go to the forearm, and then out to the arm. And we'll do all the hands. Why not? Wait, you should check it, Connor. What? Check what? Oh, it's talking about AI? Wait, I don't know. I'm sorry. I think I'm missing what you're saying. I think it's complicated because of advertisement of AI and because it's becoming cheaper to do things. And then I responded with, you think there'll be more jobs? Yeah, I think that's true. Do I think that like people don't like that? Sure. I don't disagree with that. I think it'll hurt larger studios more than it'll hurt small boutique studios, though. And I think that it will hurt entry level positions the most. And I don't think any of this is I don't think anyone would argue with me on any of that. Most people I know in the film industry would actually tend to agree. Okay, I'm going to just let's hope this works. We're just going to oh, you know what? We'll do 2 for each one. That way we can rotate them and all that jazz as well. I'll go ahead and save that. And we'll do that and that. Oh, I should check out AI. Is that? I'm sorry, Orlando Caicedo. I think I'm probably misunderstanding what you're saying. I should check out AI. I mean, I do check it every now and then to see it. I see what's up. Okay, let's go ahead and parent this and just see how this works. Object with automatic weights, please, please, please work. Nope, it didn't. Failed to find solution for one or more bones. This is like my nightmare when it comes to this. Because now none of this works. Why? We already checked the normals on everything. I checked the normals. I mean, the only thing I think is that we need to retopologize it after I sculpted it. So, did I not? I feel like I have a 3D program that is like an auto retopologizer. Do I not have one? Oh yeah, I've been hitting Control S. Free retopology software. I feel like I have one. Easy auto retopology. I could also do the built-in one. The remesh quads. Yeah, it's not going to work. Voxels, though. Is slightly lower res. 1 second. I don't mind if it's higher res because it's for final render technically, and then I'm gonna make a low res version of it as well. So I don't mind if this is like insanely detailed, because we're gonna make a lower res version of it. Okay. Let's see if I'm back online. Let's see if I'm back. I don't know if I'm back or not. Oh, I broke my computer. Like my computer like fully shut down. So that's why it took so long to get back. I don't know if you guys are still there or not. I think I lost. Yes, I'm back. Kaizo, you're still here. I lost like all 10 or whatever streamers I had of people watching. Oh well. Is what it is. Can't control that. Control S. Oh, I hit Control S. And I'm glad I did. I am glad I did, guys. Oh, we're back. Let me pull up my blender again. Turns out 0.001 voxels is too small. Probably don't want to do that. Not a good idea. Your internet had gone out? No, dude, it was my internet. Or not my internet. It was my literal, like, I literally blue screen. It wasn't a blue screen, but like literally the whole computer completely froze. Like I couldn't even control delete. And so I had to like hold down the power button because I waited for like 2 minutes. And I was like, okay, well, I gotta get this stream back up at least so I can wrap out or something. Yeah, 0.001 give geometry 100%. 100%. So not a good idea. But we're back. We're back. So let's see. Where's my OBS? And do that. And for right now, we can just turn that off. We'll say I like this to be up here. I like that. I think it works better. Just even it inside of the box over there. Okay, let's go ahead and finish up what we were doing today. Thanks for coming back, guys, after that fun excursion. But can you guys hear me and all that? Yes, you can. Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to have to not do that little voxels. Hit the save button here. Let's go to our remesh tool functionality. We'll hit voxels. We'll do 0.01 and voxel remesh it. And we do go down on quality slightly here, but I don't think that's that big of a deal. If we do shade smooth, like, whoopsies, probably shouldn't have done that also. As long as the stream doesn't crash. I think this is not enough voxels though, so I'm probably going to have to up the quality of the voxels. I just want to see if I can use this amount of voxels and then smooth things out. That would be ideal. I did use a software a little whiles back for remeshing, but I can't remember what it was, and it was on my work computer also, so I'm not I don't really want to go looking for a new software to download. Question, you want to give more geometry or less geometry? I want more. I would like to, because I think I have some errors in my 3D model that's creating it so that I can't, from automatic heat, create the armatures. So what I'm trying to do right now is remesh everything. And running into some problems, obviously. I'm really impatient, so I just want to crash this. Thank you. My computer vitals are like, please stop. Stop it, please. I'm like, no. I will get what I desire. Thank you, Nickies. I appreciate being back, honestly. Okay, so the issue is this armature right here. If I try to do automatic weights, it's going to give me an error. Yep. The error is bone heat weighting failed to find solution for one or more bones, which just basically means none of the bones. So I have to basically redo this. Should make the statistics visible so you can see how much geometry you gradually add more. Probably. Although I don't know if that's entirely my issue that I'm running into. Turn on. Yeah, I don't have any face orientation problems. Don't think so anyways. Feel like I might over here somewhere. Bring all that in there. Let's save that. I don't think it's the teeth that's causing problems anyways, but you can also just make it so the monster is its own thing. So now we select our body and that. Let's just see if this fixes our problem. Oh, there we go. So it was the teeth. Okay, well, that's not the worst thing in the world. Okay, so now, sorry with how basic this is going to be, but I am not a 3D rigger. I just, not my thing. Okay. So auto IK is always pretty cool. We'll want that later for sure. But for right now, this'll do. We need these teeth, though, to kind of parent on to the right areas. So don't think... Let's just see how well this works. Yeah, no, that didn't work. So I guess what I could do is we can manually do this. So let's yeah, let's join that. And then now we're going to need the teeth to follow in certain areas and all that jazz. Oh, we might also want to do that. One second. This actually is a fair point. Okay. Let's go into edit mode here and then select our bones. I didn't realize how far off these were. For more accurate rotations, I want this to be further forward and where that is. Go to object mode on it and we'll re-parent these with automatic weights. Go ahead and save that. Wonderful. Okay. So now this is kind of working pretty nice. The teeth though needs some work. So let's do Shift N. I think it should just work. But we may need to do some findangling, as they say. So let's select that, do with automatic weights. And now these guys go into weight paint with them. We're just going to go to the Z on it. You should be able to see everything here. We just need to paint on the teeth that are going to have it. So we just need the strength to be like really high. Essentially, we're just painting on everywhere where the teeth should be rotating. And really, there is no teeth that will like do half a rotation. Like it either does rotate or it doesn't. So if we do paint, we can change our paint options over here. Where is the, oh, is it under tools? That's right. We'll do subtract, I think, on this. Oh my goodness. Mix. Where's the minus? Darken? Is it darken? Or is it subtract? So that's add. How do you subtract? Is it darken? Or subtract. There we go. Okay. Then we'll do a mix again for this tooth. We just have to make sure that every tooth that we have is fully selected. Probably this one should be added as well. And then we'll deselect all these other teeth. It's a little more tedious. But I don't like doing this for every single bone, but you know, that's why I wanted to fix the automatic weights thing. I think these teeth, because I sharpened them type of thing, when I did that, I screwed them up. And so now they're inverting at one section, and so that's what's causing the problem. And I'm too lazy to go back and redo the teeth completely. But that's probably what I should do. Okay, so now if I go over here to object mode, when we select our armature, this will have some of the teeth selected perfectly. And we'll go to weight paint on this as well. We just basically have to clean up the rest of this. So now if we go, there we go. Just go ahead and select all the teeth that will fall under this one. I'm sure I'm going to miss something, so we'll have to go back and do some more, but another way we could have done this is well, actually, there is an easy way to do this. There's an easier way to do this. If we go to our data for these bones, if we select bone actually, or well, we have the armature selected, and then under armature, Where's the names of the bones? It was under object. Bone 23. This isn't the window I was talking about. I guess this is so middle top 2. And then this will be middle top 1. And let's do left top 1, left top 2. Hey, Nickies, thank you so much for dropping by. We'll do right top 1 and then right top 2 right over here. Then this is left bot 1, left bot 2, right bot 1, and then we'll do right bot 2. So now we've got everything kind of organized from that perspective. If we go over to our teeth, we can go to our data settings here, and under vertex groups, these are all your different bones and the heat at which they are using. And we've got these guys, like the left bot ones and the right bot ones and like all of that stuff. We can actually go through now and clean this all up. So first, let's actually start over, right? So if we just delete everything from our vertex groups, and if we select this, and we do select this as well, so we have our teeth selected, we'll do Alt-P, clear parent, keep transform. Just trying to start over where we have no vertex groups. Did I ever work at a studio? Hey, Abhishek, welcome into the chat. How you doing? Also to you as well, Disv. Yeah, I work at a small boutique studio right now. So now if we select the teeth here, now this is not parented. We'll select the teeth, and then we'll select the armature. We'll do with automatic weights, and it'll automatically add all the bone vertices that are, or vertexes that we have. But if I try rotating any of this, the teeth will obviously not move with it. So we want to fix that. And I think this is the easiest way to do it. So if we're doing, for instance, this middle top one over here, we need to go select the vertex group for that. We can actually remove all the other vertex groups if we want to. So bones, we'll just clean this up. We only need this middle top one, get rid of these other bones. We'll use the left tops, get rid of this bone. Get rid of this bone. Those, I think, are these bones right here, but we don't need those. So we'll just go ahead and remove bone, bone. And then these are, oh, shoot. Keep that one. Get rid of this one. I'll probably keep just delete from the bottom to the top here. Boom. So now we just have these guys. So I hit the save button, and let's start with this secondary bone up here. Now again, we named all the outside ones 2, so we'll do middle top 2 first. So select the teeth, select middle top 2, and if we go into weight paint, we'll notice that nothing is red. But if we go to our edit mode over here, select all the teeth that we want to be red. Just do something like that, I think. Something like that. Probably something like this as well. This guy, this guy. So we do Control L. Perfect. Now if we go do assign, Now, if we go back over to our weight paint, these will be red and these will be blue. Really easy, way easier than what we were doing before. So now let's go ahead and select this. Now I just select all these bottom ones as well. Just wanted to know what that line was. Control L, and then we'll do middle top dot one and hit assign. So now if we go over here, we go to weight paint. We've got all those are red. All these are red. They should be no duplicates in either of them, because otherwise you're going to create parenting issues with which bone is selecting what. So now in object mode, if we go and rotate this, we can see that the teeth are moving with that bone, and then the teeth are moving with this bone. Perfect. Now that's good. Let's go to object mode. We're going to move over here. We're going to do left top. Probably for our own sake, change this armature view display from octangle to stick, just to make it a little easier. And yeah, so we'll do left top. I believe 2 is on the outside, so we'll do 2 first. And this is the breaking point right here, so we'll probably want to select that and that. So we'll select all these guys. Press Control L, and again, assign. And we'll select all the outsides here. Control L, and left top 1 assign. So now going to weight paint, we can see that this is selected, that's selected. So these are 2 completely separate amounts of teeth. And I'm just going to double check everything, of course. Now we don't lose the teeth when it goes this way, which is the only way we're actually going to rotate. We're never going to rotate it outwards more. So I'm not too concerned about the skin overlapping the teeth there. Though if we did want that operation to happen, we should probably be focused on that. All right, next up, right top. So let's go into edit mode over here, and then we'll do right top and 2. Where's the breaking point on this, actually? It's right over here. Probably that. Deselect that tooth. I want basically all the teeth here. That this flap would kind of... I think we're good. If this is the break point, then we might also want this and this and that. Sure. Top 2, assign. We'll select all these guys. A lot easier doing it this way, especially since they're rigid. You know, it's a lot easier. Oh, this one tooth does go to both. I think the important part is to know which tooth we think it should be under. So that one... it technically doesn't hurt. Okay, we'll keep that. That's totally fine with me. Not perfect, but totally fine. Do you think... yeah. Okay. So now right bot 1. Right? This is 2. Okay, so right bot 2. It's on the outside. I don't know why I can't remember. Should call it O and I in order to more easily remember which one's which. Yeah, it's pretty good. So right bot and then 2, assign, and let's go here. Then left bot over here, so we'll do left bot 1. Yeah. So left bot 1, assign, and we'll do all of these guys. Hey Anu, welcome into the chat. How are you doing today? Left bot 2, assign. So now if we go, let's just do this real quick. Weight paint. Okay, I think that covers everything. I think that's all the teeth. We just did all the teeth, guys. Great. Go ahead and save that. Now we're going to have to do animation, and I think we'll hit up that next week. But that is now our full rig that we have with our teeth and sculpt. Now, one thing you'll notice is that it's probably, well, I mean, it is playing back at real time. Because we didn't really make it that high res of a 3D model. But if we need to, we can always, let's call this teeth. Let's call this base model, or we'll just call base. And we'll move the armature up here. So we'll just do rig. That's totally fine. And we'll call this Demogorgon. Save that. Oh, that's awesome. Well, good morning to you. Just working on a Demogorgon from Stranger Things. Okay. Beautiful thing. All right, so we'll go ahead and save that. And I think that is going to be the end of it, actually, guys, for today. But thank you so much for dropping in. I know it's like 6 a.m. there, so you just got on. But if you want to rewatch the live stream, then do so. I really appreciate it. And of course, if you guys want the project files for this, you can find them over on my Patreon. I did just lower the Patreon subscription costs this month. So if you guys are new here, you guys can go grab the project files over here. I always upload every single week project files we do on live stream. So this Demogorgon will be available over on the Patreon, as well as all of the ones from all of my previous live streams, which you can check out, and some really cool BTS stuff of some stuff I'm working on. But if you guys want to check that out, of course, the link to that is in the description. Thank you guys for joining today. Today was fun. Good 3D model time. Good camera tracking that we got in and lighting and everything. I think next week we'll get into some really cool animation. And I'm really excited about that. We'll also probably do some texturing because the textures that I got from this 3D model aren't that high res. So we'll probably have to do some of our own stuff for that. That'll be fun. I am excited. And then we get to do some all that slimy goodness that comes from the Demogorgon's mouth. So I don't know. I think this will be a part 2 next week and then maybe a part 3 after that, depending on how far we get on each one of these live streams. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. And again, I want to give a special shout out to our Patreon subscribers over on the Patreon. Is it going to load? Oh, no, it's not going to load because my computer crashed, so the program's not open. One moment. I'm sorry. Our wonderful Patreon subscribers, please wait for me. Yes, absolutely. See you guys next time. But yeah, thank you again for all these wonderful Patreon subscribers over here. And as I said, if you want access to all that stuff, then you can get it yourself. But I will talk to you guys next time. Stay creative, and if you aren't part of the Discord, join the Discord as well. Would love to see the stuff you guys are working on. It's always cool and inspirational to stay connected and see what everyone's doing. Next stream, you need to be awake late night. Oh yeah, I mean, don't hurt yourself doing that. Don't hurt yourself doing that. But I appreciate it, Anu. And also, I'll see you all later. You guys have a good one, and peace out.